Welcome to meeting number 2 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Agriculture and Agri-Food. Today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format pursuant to the standing orders. Members are attending in person in the room and remotely using Zoom, the Zoom application. And before we continue, I'd like to ask all participants to consult the guidelines written on the back of the card on the table. These measures are in place to help prevent audio and feedback incidents and to protect the health and safety of all participants, including the interpreters. You'll also notice a QR code on the table, which has a link to a short video. And for members in the room, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand. And members on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. The clerk and I will manage the speaking order as best we can, and we appreciate your patience and understanding in this regard. So today, colleagues, we are meeting to discuss the future business of the committee, which studies the committee wishes to undertake, and the preferred order in which they should be considered. So I will now open up the floor for any motion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to table a motion. Et la motion porte sur...
The motion is about our meeting next Monday. I would like us to start off the session on the right foot. I'd like us to have an update on one of the biggest issues in the agri-food world right now. I'd like an update on tariffs, on China, on canola, on green peas. It's all very important. We are hearing about it, but I'd like us to have an update about these topics. I suggest we meet for 1 hour with the public servants from Agriculture Canada, but also from Global Affairs and also from Finance. Some programs were announced, and I'd like to hear what they have to say about how they think these programs will impact our canola farmers and how they will help them. For the second hour, I'd like to invite stakeholders. We'll invite the stakeholders who are impacted by the tariffs, and I'd like to hear from them and find out if the proposed programs are helpful to them. I have not yet written down my motion, but I will be submitting it later on today.
All those in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, that passes. I'll open up the floor again. Any other motions? Yes, sir. Mr. Barlow.
Thank you, Chair. We have had some good discussion amongst with our subcommittee over the last few days, and I think we have each come up with a motion for a study that we would like to pursue. And this doesn't preclude other things that may come up. Certainly, there will be some emergent issues, but I think this gives us a good template for now until the Christmas recess. So for ourselves, I know this has been submit or passed around, but the study that Conservatives would like to put forward is that pursuant to Standing Order 1082, the committee undertake a study on the government's regulatory reform initiative in agriculture and agri-food at the Canada Food Inspection Agency and the Pest Management Regulatory Agency, with a focus on identifying where reforms can be expedited, where costs to producers and processors can be reduced without compromising health or trade, and where political leadership is required to move forward on long-standing files. I didn't put in the motion how many days we would want this, that we can discuss that, but I would say, or how many meetings, but I would say up to 8. I think this is not going to be a short one. If we get it done quicker, I think that's fine, but if everybody's okay with up to 8 as the number, I think that's a good way to start.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Yeah. Can we get a date for the submissions of witnesses, the end date?
Going on the clerk and the analysts, I would say if we can, we're going to have that. We're going to try and start this next Thursday. Is by Monday morning give you enough time to start sending them?
Yeah. Is
I would
that
say
fine with you?
if everybody's okay with that, Monday morning, to have our witness
Yeah.
lists in.
Okay. Any issue on that? Okay, and I'm assuming the motion passed before, or do you need another vote?
No,
We're good? Okay, it passed. So, okay, we got 2 down. Any other motions? Yes, sir. Mr. Perron?
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You'll see that we really did work well together. I had already raised a couple of questions, 2 questions actually, in June. We had decided together that I'd change the wording a little bit. The first motion was on the reference price. Considering that the reference price used in the pork sector in Quebec and Canada is currently that of the U.S. market, which can lead to distortions throughout the supply chain, producers, processors, and retailers all deserve a fair share of the revenue. It is agreed that the members of the committee will convene stakeholders in the pork supply chain and for 3 meetings to discuss how prices are set in the industry and to bring about greater transparency. And we can start with that one, and I will have another one afterwards.
Okay. All those in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, that passes. Mr. Perron?
On travaille quand même assez bien. Hein?
Mr. Perron, working pretty well, aren't we? The second motion is the motion on investments in the agri-food industry. Consumer demand for locally produced or processed food has reached unprecedented levels, driven by greater attention to food safety, sustainability, and the importance of supporting local economies. According to the OECD, between 2011 and 2023, Canada fell from 37th to 44th place out of 47 countries in terms of capital investment in the agri-food sector. And that is why we are sounding the alarm today. According to a report by Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, automation and digitization in the industry must be encouraged by the government in order for it to achieve its growth objectives. So that, pursuant to Section 108.2 of the Standing Orders, the committee undertake an in-depth study involving at least 4 meetings with stakeholders in the sector to better leverage agri-food to strengthen food security in the face of global instability, with a particular focus on creating value within the Canadian food chain by promoting investment and innovation and strengthening local food production and processing from northern and remote communities to urban centers to reduce our environmental footprint and food cost inflation, and supporting local purchasing initiatives.
Questions, debate? Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? That passes. Any other motions? Go ahead, John. Mr.
Thanks,
Barlow?
Chair. I know John's fine. I know we talked about this as well. We would also like to table a motion inviting the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food to appear before committee, just for an opportunity for us to speak to the Minister. I understand Ministers' schedules can be a little bit in flux. I do want to be fair. But our motion would be that the committee invite the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food, Heath MacDonald, to appear at committee for 2 hours, no later than October 23rd, 2025, to testify on his mandate. That gives him a little over a month to try and attend. Does that work?
Okay. Go ahead.
So, sorry, could you just repeat do you have a specific date or by which he has to appear?
I'm just saying by October 23rd, so any time between now and then.
Okay. And for 2 hours?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we have an hour with official and an hour with the minister?
I would prefer 2 hours with the Minister. I know we don't get a lot from the officials, but I would prefer 2 hours.
Okay. Could I just have a moment to
Suspend?
suspend a minute?
Okay. That's okay. We'll take a couple of minutes. Monday's meeting with the officials and stakeholders, do we have an actual list of stakeholders that have been agreed upon? Is there a list? Because we're going to have to get that list as soon as possible, because Monday's coming pretty quickly. So can we have an agreement of a specific, like when would be a cutoff, an appropriate cutoff? Yesterday for you, or tomorrow morning? 10 a.m. Is that fair for everyone? Yeah.
I think most of them know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, go ahead.
OK, oui, absolument. J'ai déjà une...
Yes, I already have a list with the main stakeholders. I asked the minister to prepare that list for me. I am going to send it to all of the colleagues, and I'll try to have that sent out by the end of the day.
We have agreement on that. Yeah, the main motion as put forward by Mr. Barlow. Mr. Barlow?
Yes, thank you, Chair. After discussions and assurance from my Liberal colleagues.
Just a sec. OK. Oui.
Yeah.
Oui,
Monsieur Perron?
Excuse-moi, John. Non,
okay.
c'est juste parce que pour les...
Sorry, John. I'd like to have the option of adding another witness. So would you mind waiting till 10 a.m. tomorrow morning?
Yeah, so the agreement was that there is a list, but you have the right as a member to provide a name by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, please do that. Sorry to go ahead.
No trouble at all. So after discussions with our colleagues and some assurance from my Liberal friends that we can have the minister a second time after the estimates in November, I think it's fair that I'll amend my motion that the committee invite the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food to appear as soon as possible for 1 hour to testify on his mandate. That would be the motion, but I'm entrusting that the minister will appear, hopefully by the end of October, but we'll work with his schedule. But
Okay,
we'll keep it
so
open.
in the spirit of cooperation, someone else needs to move that amendment. Yeah? Okay, you agree with her moving it? Okay, all in favor of the amendment? Okay, and then back to the main motion. Anyone want to speak to it? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? That passes. Online, we see in favor as well. Okay, I'll open the floor again. Are there any other motions? Oh, okay. Marianne Donduran, how are you? Did you want to say something?
Oui, s'il vous plaît, merci.
Yes, please, Mr. Chair. For a few years, the industry has been working on a grocery store code of conduct, which started being implemented earlier this summer and will be fully implemented in January 2026. I'd like us to have an update on the implementation of the grocery store code of conduct to see where the industry is at. It is not mandatory. And so I'd like to have an update on that. I sent a notice of motion and pursuant to Standing Order 1082, I would like the committee to undertake a short study of 2 meetings to receive an update on the implementation of the Grocery Code of Conduct, its shortcoming, and to examine how it is expected to address abusive retailer practices that negatively impact producers, processors, and the overall food supply chain, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises and primary agriculture, notably regarding fees, deductions, and penalties imposed by large retailers, as well as its potential effects on the affordability of food for consumers, and that the committee table its report in the House, ideally in December 2025, to ensure timely consideration of the code's implementation and effectiveness, which, as I mentioned, will be fully implemented in January.
Perron?
On est en accord.
We agree with the proposition, of course, and this is something that we also feel is important. We do want to maybe have this brought up at the opportune moment because things are a little bit delicate. These are private companies, and we have to continue to communicate with the people that we're communicating with, and so I think that this should be brought up at the opportune moment.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? On the amendment. Oh, the amendment, sorry. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that passes, carries. Okay, we'll go back to the main motion. Any discussion on the main motion? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? That passes. Are there any other items today? Yep. Okay, Mr. Connors?
Yes, I'd like to table a motion on the Sustainable Canadian Agricultural Partnership Agreement, which is set to expire March 31st, 2028. This is a federal, provincial, territorial agreement that addresses such things as climate change, business risk management programs, market conditions, and whole various issues that the sector deals with. We've heard from stakeholders across the agricultural sector have expressed a strong interest in conducting a thorough review to enhance the effectiveness and responsiveness and the overall productivity of these programs. So pursuant to Standing Order 1082, the committee undertake a study of at least 4 meetings to update previous studies of the Committee on Business Risk Management programs in Canadian agriculture sector, particularly in light of the long-term impacts of climate change, with the goal of enhancing their effectiveness, responsiveness, risk mitigation capacity, and resiliency in preparation for the next FPT agreement negotiation. The study should also consider regional realities, the needs of small and medium-sized farms, and the federal, provincial, territorial collaboration required to ensure the delivery of effective BRM programs. In addition, the study should explore options to modernize the FPT agreement by incorporating more clearly defined policy outcomes, including regulatory reform, policy coherence, and timelines, clarifying roles and responsibilities, and encouraging regional investment to support large-scale projects such as agrotechnology, parks, and regional cold storage and transportation hubs. The study should be finalized before June 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Connors. Any discussion on this? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks, Mr. Connors, for raising this. And certainly, I don't want to put my colleague, Mr. Bonk, but being a provincial MLA before this, he might have some comments on, the issue with BRMs and this program is it's provincial-federal partnership. So any decisions that, and Mr. Connors, I know you know that as well, any recommendations we have here just have to be on the caveat that, provinces have to agree and territories and Quebec as well. But I guess my main thing here, my suggestion would be, I don't think we need to approve our schedule from now until the end of June or the entire 4-year of this government. I think we've already passed 3 or 4 studies that we're going to try to undertake. There's going to be emergent issues that arise. As I've mentioned, Mr. Bragdon and the drought in Atlantic Canada might want us to look into that. So I wonder if I could ask this, Mr. Connors, if you're okay. You've tabled it, but we could vote on it. In the new year. This doesn't come up until 2028. I don't have any issues with it per se, but I think we've really scheduled ourselves pretty thick for right now, and that one might, have got some timeline to it. So I would just say table it. Let's vote on it a little bit later on. We've gotten ourselves through what we've already committed to.
We're good? Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So the motion's been tabled. We'll move on to a new item. Oh, Mr. Perron, on the same item?
We can table the motion, but John brought up an important and interesting point that we had not clarified where we mean to clarify the role of the government. So perhaps we can just amend it by adding, by respecting the jurisdictions of the provinces and territories. But I don't necessarily object to us keeping that for a little bit later.
Still on the floor, yes, the motion's still on the floor. So there's an amendment that has been made. So does anyone want to speak to the amendment? Okay.
Juste me clarifier.
please clarify what your amendment is?
Sophie, dans le fond,
I'll happily do that, Sophie. John said that there's the clarification of roles and responsibilities of different governmental tiers. If we had to change something in there, then we'd have to make sure that the partner provinces agree. And that is an element that we had not really thought of because I thought we would do it during the study. But I think that his point is relevant. We do often do this in this committee. We add the wording, to respect the jurisdictions. It generally passes because it allows us to, respect Quebec's jurisdiction, for example, and it keeps things democratic.
Mr. Connors?
Yeah, all these FPTs, they're all individual province negotiated, right? So should be no problem with adding.
j'ai pas beaucoup de son.
Pardon.
Can you repeat that?
All these FPTs are individually negotiated per province. So.
C'est pour ça, oui.
So we can add that, yes. Okay.
So it's a friendly amendment?
Yep.
You're fine with it? Okay. So I'm just going to, in the spirit of cooperation, we agree. I'm not going to take a vote on that. There's a consensus there. Is that fine with everyone? Okay. So, yes?
So now we agree with the friendly amendments. So I just wanted to ask the clerk, what's the difference between just tabling in? I agree with MP Barlow that we should not kind of tie our hand with a study immediately because, a lot of things could happen between now and January. We are living in turbulent time with both the climate but the trade. So I agree that we shouldn't tie our hands. So if we table it and say we'll study, is it kind of cast in stone or we could always kind of move it? I like to have just a plan ahead. That's the way just my mind works. I like to have a plan for the whole session, but I totally want flexibility as well. So just want to know what's the difference between tabling, adopting it today, because there's agreement that this is an important topic, but there's also agreement that we should be flexible if something else comes up. My preference would be to adopt it today, but only to the extent there's flexibility. If there's no flexibility, then I agree with John.
Okay, I'm going to let the clerk speak to this issue. Would you like to address this?
So, Mr. Connors, you have moved the motion. That's my understanding. And a debate took place, and there was an amendment. So it's before the committee. Now, it is the decision of the committee, if it's the pleasure of the committee to further debate the motion and then move to a vote, or just leave it as is and then come back to it. Okay. There's also possible, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
If you wish to add an additional amendment and move something from the motion, specifically if it's the date, you have in the motion June 2026. If that's an issue, someone can move an amendment to remove that from the motion and leave it open.
Could we move it to June 2027?
Well,
No.
Okay, why don't we hear from other folks, and then we'll come back to you, Mr. Connors. Mr. Barlow.
My suggestion to Mr. Connors would, you've moved it. There's obviously a little bit of concern with some of the issues with it. Why don't we just leave it? When we decide to revisit it in the spring, when we get there, in the meantime, Mr. Perron or myself or whoever, we can work on some amendments. So then the time comes and we debate it again in the new year. We can amend it at that time when it's on the table to be moved. I think you have the support of everyone here when the time comes, but I just don't feel there is some work to do on the motion. But again, I think we're pretty full. We've booked ourselves pretty good from now until the new year at least.
Right. Okay, Mr. Perron.
Bon, écoutez, moi,
Here's what I'd like to share. There are 2 points. First, I don't think June 2026 is a good idea because the partnership will be renewed in 2028 and the department will be working on that very soon. We know that all companies' risk management systems are not working and they are not adapted to climate change nor to the resilience to climate change. What I would have liked is for us to adopt it, but I don't understand why we're not adopting it. We've always been very clear. The committee has always decided on its agenda. We could adopt and pass this agenda, and it would be good to do that in a formal setting because we said that we would in the subcommittee, and we wanted to have a certain flexibility also in this in our calendar. So I don't know that adopting this resolution would actually bother the rest of the work. There was a point on standard reciprocity that we had talked about at the former legislation that I think we want to talk about. John probably also has certain things that he would like to bring up, and Sophie and her team probably also want to bring up other topics. I think it's up to us to decide how we want to manage the agenda. This motion is relevant. Sure, we can pass this motion, but I don't know that we can do it before June 2026. I don't know how other members feel, but it's fine to pass this motion today.
I think we'd like to adopt this and put it to a vote to adopt it. And if we have to adjust the timelines later, we can certainly, I guess, be able to adjust the timelines.
Okay. Is there any more debate on that, on the motion? Go ahead.
Sorry, so are we voting on the amendment to, are we removing the date and the issues that Mr. Perron raised in terms of provincial, territorial distinction, or I just want to make sure we know exactly where we are.
So we're gonna vote on the amendment to remove the date, I believe it was? That's what, no? What is the amendment for?
Provincial jurisdiction.
Oh, okay, provincial jurisdiction. So we'll go with the amendment first. Yeah, the provincial, yeah. The provincial jurisdiction amendment piece? Okay, it was adopted? Okay, so we're back to the main motion then. Okay. Is there any debate on the main motion as adopted?
Sorry, keeping the date. Are we removing the date or keeping the date in there?
He hasn't removed the date.
Okay.
He's left the date in there. Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we remove the date from the
Okay, an
motion.
amendment? Was it an amendment to remove the date? Okay. Go ahead, Sophie. Yep.
It's just that the review, the way I understand the way the federal-provincial partnership is being negotiated is that if we wanted to have a relevant impact, my information from the department is that they will start really working seriously in the summer of 2026. So the reason for before June is because if we want our recommendation to have an impact, it has to be before June. After that, it'll have less of an impact, just because of the timeline of the negotiation of the FPT partnership agreement. So that's the reason for the timeline.
Any other speakers? There's an amendment to remove the date from the main motion. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to it? Okay, I guess we're going to vote on it, right, at this point? Yeah? Okay. All those...
As you wish. You can just do it as usual, or I can take names.
Okay, I'll just do it. All those in favor of removing the date? Opposed? Okay. You don't have to take names. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so the amendment fails. So back to the main motion. Are there any speakers to the main motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. That's it. Are there any other, is there any more committee business? None? You're good? I don't have to do anything else? We're good? Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn? Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Okay, have a good weekend, everyone.